let's create a 3D drawing. So we're back to our first drawing, and we need to unlock the wheels, remembering the wheels are on a separate layer, and your design at the very top. We're going to just copy both, Control C, and make a new file, A3, horizontal format, give it a name. Your name will do nicely. Control V. There it is. Now we're going to create a new layer here. The layer 1, layer 2 will basically have either the body or the wheels. Control X, Control V, Control Z. What should I have done? Control F. Okay, let's select all that. Righto. What we're going to do now is we are going to extrude, make into 3 dimensions this 2-dimensional drawing. And to do this, we need to actually have a shape, closed vectors, no lines, no broken lines. It has to be a closed shape. Okay, always a closed shape, otherwise this particular effect in Illustrator will not work. So we select all our shapes, all 3 of them, go to Effect, 3D, Extrude and Bevel, and work within this dialog box. First thing you want to do is go to the Extrude Depth and choose 250, and then click on Preview. There's our preview. Now you can have any number of orientations for this view, but the presets is what we need. To go to Position and choose Isometric Left, and then we want the minimum amount of shading, so we want no shading, and that's it. Okay, once we've got that, what you'll see is we've got our two cylinders and the car body. Select everything again, and this time we need to go to Object, Expand Appearance, and now it's converted that effect into vectors, into shapes, and we need now to actually choose the default stroke and fill, and we're almost there. You can see what we're trying to achieve here. Remembering, once you've finished this drawing, you will print this out to render in your favorite medium. The textures, I think it's wood grain, yeah. Okay, let's finish this drawing first, of course. So what we'd like to do is work with these cylinders. Firstly, let's just lock the top layer and put the cylinder into position, and once we do that, you'll see there's a little problem that we have to fix. Okay, and right now, because our cylinders are in the bottom layer, the actual form of the body cuts right across them, right here, yeah, cuts right across them. So if had the other way around, that wouldn't work for us at all, would it? So what we need to do, we need to rectify that, and it's quite simple. All it means is that we need to take, we've locked the top layer, we need to ungroup the cylinders, and you need to do this 3 times over, I think. I'm not quite sure. Oh, just the twice. We want to copy that and paste it on the top layer. But before we do, let's do the same with this. Ungroup, ungroup, and there we have the ellipse on its own. Select that ellipse, Control C, lock that layer, go back here, unlock it, Control F, and we've more or less fixed that little problem we had. More or less fixed it, not quite right yet. So if we select those two, let's go to the stroke and increase that stroke to 2, and that looks a bit better. We're still not quite right, and we could add another little line in here and a line in there at the 30 degrees, but I'll let you to do that in by hand when you print this out. You can just rectify that. So we're just about there. We can also use this drawing and insert it into our orthogonal drawing. So if we just unlock it and lock the body layer, layer 2, select all of that information and make sure you group it. Control G. Otherwise, we may miss out because I've ungrouped it before. So if we may lose some information when we copy it into the other file. So let's unlock the top layer, Control C, and let's go back to our orthogonal drawing and Control V. Oh, you notice that I've actually created a new layer above guidelines and named it isometric, just so I don't get confused. Now, our vehicle is to scale, but you know, there's our vehicle. It's just a little too big, but it's the same size as our front view. So let's just select it again, select everything, including the wheels, and let's just make it a little smaller so it fits neatly into that corner. And we have an additional drawing to our orthogonal drawing. Now, before we finish with this orthogonal drawing, there's a couple of things which I haven't actually covered for those of you who will not have a body which is 75 millimeters high. It may be lower, or it may not be your cross section AA may not correspond to a solid right through. So, in fact, if we bring the guidelines back, bring it back to guidelines, you'll see that I've actually made an error myself. So I'll put my guideline there. My axis AA, which is this line right through here, actually intersects at that point. Now that means I'm seeing a solid out here. The way to rectify this is by, let's say, lock everything else, go to the view which has all that information, which is, let's see, that's the one. Unlock that, lock everything else. What I need to create here is I need to reflect that information. So I'm going to bring down a corresponding guide that intersects with that axis, which is right there. Now, strictly speaking, the actual section, the cut through, is happening a little lower than what I've shown. So I've got to take a little rectangle, draw it over the top, and block out that information. Now, that is far more accurate. For some of you who won't have a body that's 75 millimeters high, when you go into create this particular hatched box, make sure the size of that box is the height of your body. The width remains the same, it will be 75, but the height will be whatever the height is of your particular design. Okay, don't forget that. Don't assume you go 75 by 75 as a default. You go 75 by 75 only if you have a body which is that size. What would happen if I didn't have that sawtooth information there. That little triangle was missing. And let me just, for the sake of argument, just delete that. And I go to Pathfinder. If I can find it, window, Pathfinder, there we are. Okay, and just omit that. Now, my sectional view will have to lower even further. So if I put my guides back up, it would be, if I go close up, I need to create a box that goes even lower to reflect that information, and drag that back up, go back again, get rid of the guides. Okay, now so the section runs right through the axle, as we said, and our sectional view has to show the information that we can see on the front view. Okay, so this white space corresponds to what's seen beyond the section. I hope it's clear, and we are done.